What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we are going to be discussing Bungie, Destiny, and Sandbox Updates. Now, what exactly is a Sandbox Update for Destiny? Well, it's an update to the overall gameplay mechanics and dynamics throughout the game. It's updating the overall sandbox of Destiny. Most commonly, it's associated with buffs and nerfs to weapons and subclasses. Again, stuff that impacts your daily gameplay experience no matter what you're doing. And the reason we're talking about this today is that sandbox updates are a huge part of really any, especially multiplayer game. And most commonly, you guys probably associate it with the Crucible Meta. The good old Destiny Crucible Meta. It is quite something. Even just saying that phrase, Crucible Meta. I guarantee some people are getting goosebumps. They're going down the comments ready to type out what is bullshit and what needs to be nerfed. Like, it elicits a lot of emotions from Destiny players because it's something you so wholeheartedly experience every time you play the game. PvE and PvP. PvP is definitely more associated with it, but PvE definitely has its own meta as well. Now, these sandbox updates are huge because they shift the meta, or at least they should shift the meta whenever they come out. Nerfs to the guns and subclass abilities that may be overpowered, and buffs to the stuff that may be underpowered. And here's the tricky part. Everyone is going to have a slightly different opinion on what needs to be buffed and what needs to be nerfed. I'm sure some of you think that right now the Crucible meta is just overrun by shotguns. The Matador 64 shows up pretty much 1 out of every 2 kills in the kill feed. Others may think that fast-firing pulse rifles like the Clever Dragon need a little bit of a nerf as well. They are completely taking over the primary gun slots. And others still may think that those two things are completely wrong. Perhaps to combat shotguns, we should buff primaries so you can actually compete with them. I actually kind of think that personally, but the thing is, it almost doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, obviously. You know, the Sandbox update comes out, and if they buffed shotguns, I'm sure the Destiny community would not be thrilled by that. But in any event, my point is, we're not talking today about what specifically to buff, what specifically to nerf, but rather, we're talking about the fact that there hasn't been a sandbox update. There hasn't been any buffs or nerfs to Destiny in 130 days on the day I'm recording this commentary. It'll actually be more than that if you guys are watching this video. That is absolutely insane. 130 days with people screaming to make changes to the Crucible meta, and Bungie has done nothing. To give you guys a great example of how long that is, Battlefield 1 hasn't even been out for 130 days. Battlefield 1 came out and has already had a couple of buffs and nerfs to different weapons, rebalancing the meta there. That entire game has existed for less time than we've had the current meta, and frankly, that is ridiculous. That is really harming the game. I hear from people all the time, every day, in the comment section, on Twitter, wherever, saying that, you know, they don't play Destiny anymore, like they have fallen out of love with Destiny, or they've quit because they're upset with the meta. Like, I'm sure you guys have thought or have heard your friends literally say, I have quit Destiny because I'm sick of the current Crucible meta. I have trouble getting a party together in Destiny. Like, I have trouble getting a raid group together because all of the people I play Destiny with, or I used to play Destiny with, are playing other games. And that's totally fair. Like, no one's saying you have to play Destiny 24/7. I myself bought The Witcher 3 with the most recent Steam sale, and I've been playing the absolute crap out of it. Fantastic game, by the way. If it ever goes on sale and you guys see The Witcher 3, like especially the Game of the Year edition, buy it. Little bit of a tangent there, but in any event, my main point is that people get so sick of the current meta, they get so sick of getting killed with the same weapons over and over and over again, and they just want a change. That's why I said earlier, it almost doesn't matter what change there is as long as there is change. Now, that is definitely with a big asterisk. Again, they could really fuck things up, but even if they just addressed some of the main concerns, even if they just went in, buffed auto rifles, please Bungie, buff auto rifles, nerfed shotguns a little bit, and then nerfed the fast firing pulse rifles. I'm not even saying that is the best solution. Like, guys, seriously, I'm not even saying that they should do that, but something like that would at least shift the meta. After a Sandbox update, that is like the best time usually for PvP. People are actually trying out different weapons. People are using weapons that maybe got a buff, even they're just a small buff, like a 1-2% buff. They're whipping out their slow shooting pulse rifles or their auto rifles or whatever to test them out and to see if they actually are competitive again. Like, for a few weeks as the new meta settles, that's the most fun time, at least in my experience, to play Destiny. So when we have 130 days without that, 130 days of people pretty much knowing at this point what's good, what's bad, and just most of the time using the same weapons that you see all the time, clever dragons with Matter 64s, etc. It's just very tiresome. It becomes so much less fun. And I have talked to so many people, and I'm sure some of you guys watching are under the same mindset, who love Destiny's PvP. They just really enjoy playing the Crucible, but even they get sick of the same meta for so long. And again, they leave the game, they seek other games, what have you. And this wouldn't really be a founded complaint if this was the first time it was happening. But this has happened so many times throughout Destiny's history. We have the famous Thorn meta of year one. Like, some of you guys watching have been playing this game since Destiny first came out. Like, I've been playing since the alpha, and I'm sure you guys know, the OG Destiny players know, when I say the Thorn meta of year one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When the Thorn, the Hawkmoon, and the Last Word absolutely took over the Crucible, and Bungie didn't even comment on it. Not that they didn't buff it, they didn't even comment on that this was an issue, that the community was complaining about this for over 200 days. So the community was one of the top complaints, that the Crucible was completely unbalanced. They just completely ignored everyone for over 200 days. That should not happen. And when you compare Destiny to other competitive shooters, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Titanfall, whatever, they're all buffing and nerfing guns and abilities and what have you way more often. Black Ops 3 was updating their weapons and abilities and all that stuff pretty much every few weeks. Some people, a small subset, were actually complaining that they were buffing and nerfing stuff too often and that the meta could never settle. But compared to what we have now in Destiny, I would so much rather have that. It was really interesting watching, and I did play a decent amount of Black Ops 3, but playing and watching the Black Ops 3 community constantly be discussing, okay, this gun is now good, it got a small nerf to recoil, it's suddenly become good, now this gun is good, in fact, this gun that used to be good is now bad, and this other one is kind of similar but basically better. Like, it was so awesome watching that community constantly have to evolve to the new meta every so often, every few weeks. Like, if you didn't log on for a month, there'd be a new set of guns that were competitive, that were good. People would always be using different things. You didn't just have like one gun, except for maybe the VMP, completely take over for the entirety of the game's history. You always had different guns shine and then kind of get nerfed a little bit and all that stuff. It was an evolution, and it kept gameplay fresh. Gameplay right now in Destiny, especially within the Crucible, is anything but fresh. And that is a big problem. Now, why is this being done? It seems to me that Bungie is trying to come out with the perfect update. It just must be the culture of the studio. They think that if we get just a little bit more research data, if we just get a little bit more numbers, if we just crunch things for a little bit more, test things a little bit more, then we'll come out with the perfect update and we'll solve everything and everything will be balanced. I'm sorry to break it to you, Bungie, if you're watching, if the guy who does the buffs and nerfs is watching especially, but That's not gonna happen. Like, at this point, after the Sandbox updates I've witnessed, again, since the alpha, I've paid attention to every single Sandbox update. Bungie, you are never going to get it perfect. Like, you just are not. Every time there's a Sandbox update, a lot of good things are done. Don't get me wrong, a lot of things are done that really make sense. But there's always a few things that make absolutely no sense whatsoever, like buffing auto rifles by 0.04%, which made absolutely no difference whatsoever, like nerfing the fast-firing auto rifles when they weren't even overpowered and shotguns were still a huge force. Now shotguns are even more of a force because the one gun archetype that could challenge them got nerfed. For no reason. But that's all aside. Again, I'm not talking about specifics of what to buff and what to nerf. I'm just saying we need a change. We need things to change. And guys, smash that like button, share this video, tweet this video out if you agree with this sentence. Bungie, you can't let Destiny stagnate for so long. We need Sandbox updates to come much more often. We, as a community, understand that you're trying to do the best for Destiny, trying to come up with the most intelligent, most creative buffs and nerfs so you can solve most of the problems at once. And we're here to help you achieve that goal, to offer feedback and support whenever we can. But to leave these updates for so long, to make everyone just hate the weapons and abilities that have fallen to the top of the pyramid is not the solution. We need buffs and nerfs more often. We need a shift in gameplay more often. So guys, that's what I think. Like, if I was able to communicate one sentence on this subject to Bungie, that's what it would be. And again, if you guys agree with that, please support this video, because hopefully someone from Bungie can actually watch this and say, you know what, this guy is right. At least that's the dream. But also, I'd love to hear what you guys think on this subject matter. So leave in the comment section down below what parts you agree with, what parts you maybe didn't agree with, and how you would fix the current dilemma with Destiny. And I think it is fair to say that Destiny right now is in a bit of a dilemma. So many people, like, I just constantly see comments of people who have become dissatisfied with the state of the game. And again, it's so easy to see why. If the state of the game remains the same for so long, you're just naturally going to get sick of it. So guys, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see more Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you actually want to be notified of new uploads, make sure to press the bell beside subscribe. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have a good day.